So thank you, everyone. Thank you to the organizers for including our contribution. And we'll be discussing motherhood in Moche society from Northern Peru. So we base this discussion in the theoretical framework of a bioarchaeology of care. Bioarchaeological research considers the actor and artifact of care. So the actor is the living person that has life experiences, and the artifact is the human skeletal remains that record these lived experiences.
So just a brief background on the Moche themselves. So the Moche political and religious ideology was adopted by numerous polities along the Peruvian coast between 200 and 900 CE. The initial interpretation that there was a single and unified Moche state has been demystified, and archaeologists now tend to approach the Moche through their shared traits in terms of diet, geography, religion, and political structure. These links are further recognizable through their well-crafted biochrome pottery, iconographic corpus, large temples, and elaborate mortuary tombs. Aleksa, if you wouldn't mind. These tombs and other mortuary contexts serve as important indicators of social stratification and inequality. Elaborate gold necklaces, silver and shell inlaid earrings, and dramatically detailed ceramics have been recovered from the Lourdes Sipan and Lady of Cow burials. As you can see from this reconstruction, the Lady of Cow tomb is particularly important for our discussion of motherhood, and bioarchaeological analysis conducted by Jordi Esbenfare suggests that she likely died in childbirth due to complications with eclampsia. She is accompanied by an attendant burial of a young woman who has been interpreted as her midwife. The Moche are famous for their iconographic references in art and on pottery. Significant themes in Moche iconography depict childbirth, breastfeeding, and childcare. Various vessels represent women with midwives and other attendants that serve to facilitate childbirth, perhaps demonstrating a shared responsibility between mothers and their assistants. An interesting side note, there are also cases of Moche artwork depicting the birth of other species, such as deer, suggesting the importance of fertility and life cycles were not limited to humans. If you wouldn't mind, as is seen on these vessels, there are numerous scenes of women carrying children and bundles, while others depict women breastfeeding. There are also scenes that challenge Western notions of reproduction, whereby men and women are engaging in anal sex while the women are simultaneously breastfeeding. The influential work of Mary Weismantel has highlighted the importance of circulating fluids for the continuation of life. And while these scenes do not depict vaginal penetration, the simultaneous act of anal sex and breastfeeding was reproductive through the passage of vital liquids between these figures. Though in most cases the provenience of these ceramics are unknown, some have been recovered from the tombs of women and children, suggesting the flow of vital liquids may indeed parallel the cyclical flow of life.
So Moche iconographic depictions were diverse in the representation of pregnant women, childbirth, breastfeeding, and engaging in reproductive acts, as you've just seen. So we've worked at the Late Moche site of Huaca Colorada, occupied between 600 and 900 CE. Excavations directed by Edward Swenson reveals that at other Moche centers, the role of mothers was important for socio-political and ceremonial activities. This site is located in the Jequetepeque Valley and composed of 3 sectors. Sectors A and C are domestic spaces, while Sector B is an elite precinct. Fine Moche ceramics were recovered from the domestic zones at this site, while Highland Cajamarca ceramics were recovered from elite zones. In both elite and domestic areas, burials of women were common. This burial here is of a 25 to 29-year-old woman interred with a 6-month-old baby. She was placed below a series of platforms in the northern domestic zone, and the burial of a juvenile camelid, Yamar alpaca, as well as a deer limb were offered in the same stratum. In the elite sector, a pregnant burial was recovered, interred within a trapezoidal dais, and later decommissioned by a rectangular platform. This burial was identified to be a female between 23 and 29 years old. Fetal remains in the abdominal area were aged to between 28 and 40 weeks based on defined features of long bones. It was likely significant the life encased within a life parallels the architectural layering of a dais within a platform. While not the same scale of rich offerings as the Señora de Cow or Lady de Cow burial, the burial of a woman that likely died due to childbearing complications is an uncanny similarity. Finally, we undertook serial sampling of this pregnant woman's M3, and based on fluctuations in carbon and nitrogen isotopes that track contributions from C3 and C4 plants and marine versus terrestrial protein, it is likely that this woman consumed a C4-rich, likely maize diet until mid to late adolescence, when her diet drastically changed to incorporate more terrestrial protein, likely camelid meat. There are a number of reasons that could explain this dietary change, but it is possible that she changed households from an agricultural to herding community following marriage, and her death and childbirth likely brought communities together from both ways of life. Her death was marked by the ritual decommissioning of an important platform, and great care was taken to place her body within the site, likely to mark her membership of the community. Thank you for your attention.